Behind me is a country that doesn't officially exist, and in front of me is Russia's only subtropical resort. And even though it doesn't look like it today, vast majority of Russians think this place is paradise and decide to move here from across the whole country. In this video we would like to share with you what life's like in this unique corner of Russia. And this, by the way, is the mighty Black Sea.
So as we walk along the beach on this pleasant February day, we wanted to tell you about the border behind us, which if you were to look on any international map, you would see is the border between Russia and Georgia. However, if you were to look on a Russian map, you would find that this is the border with Russia and the country of Abkhazia, a country that to much of the world is unrecognised and thought of as part of the country of Georgia. This piece of land behind us is another one of those conflicts that came out of the breakup of the Soviet Union. When this became Georgia behind us, the local Abkhaz people rebelled against the rule from Tbilisi, and it's an incredibly complicated conflict that continues to this day, and of course, as with any, has been used by outside powers to meet their own political needs. By the way, it is actually possible for people to travel to Abkhazia, and as a Westerner, all you have to do is, I think, apply online for some sort of e-visa, and you can cross the border here in Sochi across into Abkhazia. And the city of Gagra is not too far away, and there in the city of Gagra, above it was one of Stalin's old dachas, this beautiful building I've seen online, as well as a beautiful lake there called Lake Ritsa. But crossing that border in the eyes of Georgia is an illegal crossing because they believe it to be their territory. So effectively, yeah, crossing from Russia into Abkhazia would be an illegal crossing, and for that you can get banned from Georgia. Actually, you can get fine at the bare minimum and also potentially banned from the country. So for now we can look at it from here and just imagine what that piece of land's like on the other side.
We are currently walking in a new area called Sirius, which is basically an Olympic park. Before the Olympic Park was built here, this was basically a wasteland, and I was reading that apparently there were worries that after the Olympic Games finish, this area will become abandoned, there'll be nothing here, but actually this is one of the most popular touristic spots in the city. You can buy an apartment literally right there for 1 or 1.5 billion rubles. So if you would like one, let us know in the comments down below, and we'll make a reservation for you. And this is my mom. Привет. Привет. А когда ты приехала в Сочи, мамуль? Когда? Да.
В 2014 году после Олимпиады.
В 14-м. То есть ты, по-моему, переехала прямо перед тем, как я приехала в Англию.
Ты осенью переехала в Англию, а я в июне.
В июне. Почему ты решила в Сочи приехать?
Потому что мечтала жить на море.
А чем бы ты сказала, отличается жизнь здесь, в Сочи, от жизни в Кемерово, в Сибири?
Что не нужно зимнюю резину на машину покупать. Что не нужно шапку-ушанку покупать.
Но это, скорее всего, минус.
Всю жизнь, всю круглый год проходить в одних кроссовках. Но так, по большому счету, ничем.
Климат?
Только климат, да, все.
А так жизнь не отличается? Живешь ты в России, по сути, в Сибири, в Кемерово или здесь?
Ну, только погодными условиями, все.
А цены? Ты бы сказала, цены ощутимо различаемы?
Не сказать, что прям как раньше. Конечно, Сочи считалась самым дорогим городом, наверное, в России. Сейчас я бы так не сказала, потому что в Кемерово бываю и здесь особо, на что-то может быть и разное, а так по большому счету не особо отличаются.
А ты бы сказала, что у нас люди отличаются
У вас
здесь?
В России?
Ну,
здесь
в России что да, как люди в Сибири, вот в Кемерово, предположим, и люди в Сочи, в этом регионе,
абсолютно
отличаются?
разные, конечно.
Да?
Так же, как и вы сами могли заметить, во всех регионах они отличаются.
Это правда.
Даже и в Москве, и в Питере совсем разные люди, а особенно в Сибири и Сочи.
Но я бы сказала, что вот
в Сибири люди
люди самые хорошие.
Потому что вы из Сибири.
А ты думаешь, ты бы хотела остаться жить в Сочи? Или ты бы в какой-то момент захотела переехать в Сибирь?
Нет, однозначно нет. Ну, наверное, в любое место, могла бы переехать, где есть море.
Где есть море?
Море теплое. Ну, и где море, да, где теплый климат, конечно.
Для тебя это
Жаркий,
прям
да.
жаркий.
Мгм.
Еще и жаркий, еще и море, еще и жаркий климат.
Мгм.
Мне точно в роддоме не подменили, мама.
Ну, как все говорят, что похоже.
Ну да, ну да. Okay, let's head from the Olympic Park to the city center.
The market has a distinctly Caucasian vibe, Caucasus vibe. And on that note, whilst we're here in the Caucasus, even though it's the North Caucasus, we can smell Georgia from here. So we're going to head to a Georgian restaurant and grab some Georgian food. Either maybe khinkali or khachapuri, something Caucasian. Oh, and look at the old Caucasus hat as well. It's like we're in Dagestan. Stolova khachapuri.
This is a canteen, and they just make really good hachapuri, and we come here all the time.
Можно 2 маленьких, что ли? 1 обычный, 3 компота и 3 чая. 2 на 1550. Пожалуйста.
Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Your money.
Давайте с сухофруктами.
Good choice.
Спасибочки.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
I don't remember when we had hachapuri last time.
Me neither.
Away from mom. Приятного аппетита.
Приятного аппетита.
Маленькие такие.
Выглядит прям офигенно.
Да.
У нас это уже вкусно.
Hachapuri is a staple in Georgia and one of our favorite dishes. So Mom said that this particular canteen is only popular for the hachapuri and everyone comes here. And actually, whilst we were waiting for them, my mom told me that they actually had a fire. Когда вам горела эта столовка?
Когда большой пожар был, мать помню.
Когда большой пожар был?
Большой был.
Ну, года 3-4 назад, наверное.
Ну, это может быть годом раньше.
А, то есть сначала пожар здесь случился, а потом большой. А непонятно почему. Почему нет? There was a massive fire, and my mom said that before the fire, everything used to look completely different. Now it's kind of modern, but before it was quite, grimy, shall we say. But it was still very popular because of their hachapuri.
Вкус Кавказа.
Вкусно?
Очень.
Скучал?
Очень.
Спасибо большое, до свидания. This was, thank you, delicious. Speaking of the Caucasus, we would love to go into the Russian Caucasus this time. However, last time we went there, the weather was kind of similar and it's just impossible to travel around the area. So hopefully next time when we come back to Russia, we'll head towards the Russian Caucasus.
Yeah, there's still so much we want to do and see in both Dagestan, Chechnya, Ingushetia, so many little regions and republics in this area of Russia that we haven't explored properly. I'm excited.
Поедешь с нами на Кавказ?
Чечню.
Чечню, Дагестан, Ингушетию.
Конечно.
Да?
Хотя бы в Адыгею. Да, что
Хотя
в
бы в
Краснодарске.
Бишкек.
Ну хотя бы в Бишкек. Я тебе все зову, а ты не приезжаешь. We were just on the way home and we turned up this little side street. So come and have a look at this.
And this is my favourite thing. Look at this handmade gym equipment. Big weight on the bottom. Pull it down from there. You can do your back. Тренажерное прям. Love it. Ручное.
You can see that in some of the houses people are still living, but some look proper abandoned, like this one. Интересно, как пьют глоток этих построек.
As with everywhere in the world, even in the richest places on earth, you can find massive inequality. And here in Sochi, in the very center of Adler, a place that's home to some of the biggest concentrations of wealth here in the country, there's this little tiny slum area, I guess you could call it, where these kind of hand-built homes are. A lot of them are completely empty, others are still being lived in. But yeah, right in the middle of the city, in one of the most expensive areas in terms of real estate in Russia, has its very own slum. I'm assuming that, as with many slums around the world, a lot of these homes would have been built without documents, so they're not officially registered on the Russian version of the land registry. So yeah, when they come to build over the top of these, I'd imagine there won't be any payments for people. Their houses will just be knocked down. Amazing. Hidden away from the main street, and then you come around the corner and then you're heading back into the main part of the city.
Whilst we're here in Adler, we're getting some documents done with my mum, and I wanted to show you this. This is my mum's birth certificate, SSSR, because she was born in 1974, so she gets such a cool birth certificate. Mine is just a piece of paper. I mean, it's a pretty looking one, but still just a piece of paper. Nothing about being born in the 90s. This is so cool.
Around 40 kilometers northeast of Adler, and the Olympic Park is Polyana, where we are right now. And this is another area that was built specifically for the Olympics. Basically the entire valley that goes, the gorge, the river that goes all the way down towards Adler, was carved out. There was a massive road built, and now there's 3 massive ski resorts here. A lot of the Olympic events were held up here in Polyana, and then now it's the biggest ski resort here in Russia. And yeah, basically off nothing, this place was carved out. Actually, down in the valley there's a proper town right on the riverbank, but we've come up above the town of Polyana, or Rozakhuto itself, to the kind of ski resort. There's like halfway up the mountain there's another ski resort, which is where we are right now. Down there it's raining. Up here at least the snow's settling, so it's a bit better. Now, the building of this place prior to the Winter Olympics obviously took years, and all of the infrastructure needed as well. I think there's a train track that's been gorged out as well, and it costed absolute billions. Tens of billions were spent on this entire region, really, the entire Sochi region, but especially up here in Polyana. And I think what before was still a ski resort, but a kind of very small local one, has now become one of the biggest in Europe. And yeah, the scale of this place is unreal. There's actually 3, as I said, different ski resorts in one here. To be honest, the reason we came up halfway up the mountain here was to have a look at the view, because from here you get an amazing vantage point of the valley below and the mountains behind, the beautiful Caucasus Mountains. But what can you see today? Nada. You look colder than you do in Siberia.
It's actually really, really hot. Just miserable.
We actually came here with Julia's mum and her husband around 5 years ago, and we stayed in that hotel just there. And from here you should be able to see this beautiful mountain view over the beautiful Caucasus peaks. But yeah, obviously today you can see Eiffel. But we'll show you a picture now over the top of what it should look like, because we actually had, I think, one of those balconies right there. This is one of the selling points of Sochi whenever anyone talks about it, or whenever the place is spoke about more generally, that you can basically, the saying is you could sunbathe in the morning and then come up and ski in the afternoon, or vice versa. And I have to admit, it's very, very cool that you can be in a ski resort and a half hour later you're down on the coast. Obviously, when we showed you the coast earlier in this video, it wasn't quite swimmable weather, but in the winter it can get up to like plus 15, even 20 down on the coast, and if the sun's shining, that's really, really lovely. And yeah, it's certainly pretty unique that effectively in one city you can ski and swim at the same time.
Good morning from here in Adler. The rain hasn't stopped for about 5 days now, and we're heading to the train station to grab a train to the city center. We're basically going to Sochi, which we consider a separate city, but it's supposed to be one city. Sochi is actually the longest city in the world, and we're currently in an area called Gastella. This is where my family lives, and excuse my looks, I'm heavily allergic to my mom's cat and dog, and I've been kissing with my mom's dog the whole morning. Ah, terrible life choices.
Kissing with them.
I've literally been kissing my mom's dog. She's so cute. Totally worth it. This is more of a lived-in area. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but there is a lot going on, and a lot has changed over the last few years, especially over the last 3 years that we haven't visited. So we've been coming a lot to Sochi over the last 11 years since my mom moved here. We try to come here twice a year when we could, and you can say that Sochi is kind of our second home after Kemerovo, and this is where we spent majority of our time over the last 11 years. And actually my mom moved apartments a lot, so every time we would come here we would be staying in a different area. That's why we actually know the city pretty well, because we stayed in pretty much all the areas around the city. And you know, a lot of people from Siberia, from across the whole Russia, but especially from Siberia, moved to Sochi. A lot of people come because there are more opportunities, more work available here, just for a better life. But a lot of people come here because of the climate. They prefer this subtropical climate, which honestly I think I'm in the minority. Not for me, not for me.
Пассажирский поезд номер 316 Adler, Симферополь. Состав номер 358, Эмеретинский курорт, вокзал Олимпийский парк.
Мы бы тебя не оставили.
Ты бы точно меня оставил. Да?
Так, давайте я сюда.
Welcome to the centre of Sochi. We were hoping to show you a bit more, but honestly the weather's not been on our side for filming this video. I think every day since we started it's been pissing down with rain, and yeah, that tradition continues as we're walking through the centre here. But we travelled about half an hour on the Lastochka from Adler, and we're still effectively in the same city. As Julia mentioned, it's a bizarre situation. When you look at the map, Yandex maps especially, and you type in Sochi, it comes up with the city borders and you see how long and thin it is. Obviously Julia said that it's like a totally different city in many respects, but yeah, this is the centre anyway. And from here it also continues another 30 or 40 kilometres north in the other direction. Fascinating. This, by the way, is one of the most expensive areas in all of Russia. The very centre of Sochi, property is so inflated here compared to other parts of the country. It's, yeah, unbelievable. It's like a totally different country in itself. And when you get down to the port area here, we showed it in another video a few years ago, the cars and just the smell of money down there is, yeah, like nowhere else in, certainly in this part of Russia, probably outside of Moscow. Anyway, let's take a little walk and we're going to head to a mall and show you something very interesting when we get there.
We just walked past the marina. It was certainly much nicer 3 years ago when the sun was out. Some of these boats and yachts, well, more likely yachts, just gorgeous. And actually you can rent a lot of them. We had about, I don't know, 20 people come up to us and ask if we want to have a boat ride. And one of them actually said, guys, let's go on the boat ride. You won't regret it. Something tells me that we might.
Скажите, пожалуйста, сколько стоят вообще прогулки?
Прогулка, смотрите, если в составе группы на двухпалубной яхте 2000 рублей.
2000?
Палубная, да, вот хорошая, хорошая яхта.
Ага.
Если в аренду от 6000, то есть индивидуально вот небольшая яхточка, то есть у вас получится по 1500, только и вы, и капитан.
А
это
сколько
будет
по времени?
Прогулка.
Часовая
в группе,
прогулка?
Да, в группе 45 минут
Ага.
катаем. Ну, она как бы в аренде дороже. А если вы пойдете в аренду, часовая прогулка. Хотите еще мы?
Понятно. То есть, а цены вообще разные у всех, да?
Разные цены. То, как говорится, если админы, они по-разному продают. Если администратор, он старается как бы свою катер
Понятно.
быстрее продать, вот, без
Интересно.
посредника.
А так вообще, как вы находите людей, которые яхты свои сдадут?
Ну, здесь все работает.
Да?
Здесь каждый, да, судовладелец. Ну, на определенную компанию я работаю, тут на другую судовладельца. Здесь много судовладельцев. Здесь
Интересно.
ни одного владельца.
Ну да, мы заметили, что тут много разных
Да.
лодочек.
Ребята, пойдете в море на яхте кататься?
Спасибо большое, не буду вас отвлекать.
Пожалуйста.
Спасибо вам
Спасибо.
большое. До свидания.
You know, there's so many faces to Russia. I mean, I know it's the same with every country. Every country has different levels of income and different cities that are perhaps, let's say, more well off than others. But the levels of inequality here are vast. There is incredible wealth, and you really see it when you're obviously in the centre of Moscow or St Petersburg where we were, as well as here in Sochi. And then on the flip side you have cities like, or small towns like Taiga in Siberia, and it's really interesting to see every single face of this country and how it differs. And yeah, walking along the port here in the front in Sochi, you see all of the same brands that you're maybe used to seeing in the centre of London or in Geneva or something, you know, like Rolex and Chanel, Gucci, etc, etc. And yeah, as I said before, if there's anywhere in Russia outside of Moscow that screams wealth of the new Russia, then it's definitely Sochi. I mean, even just looking around at all the cars here, I mean, it's just, yeah, a different world, different world.
By the way, we're here in Sochi with my sister Lera and her boyfriend Nikolai. Super natural, guys. Super natural.
Smashed it. Молодцы, молодцы.
This concludes our holiday here in Sochi for now. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't on our side, and apparently it's getting better as soon as we leave. Hope you enjoyed watching this video, and see you in the next one. Cheers!